So then production started, and the gameplay programmers were put on the project. They started analyzing, of course, the original game. We had to reverse engineer everything, measure how fast the arm goes out when you shoot it out, how fast you swing back and forth, how fast you run across the ground, at what speed you fall down and everything. We had to kind of lock down the camera for a side scroller view and build the world from square blocks, just as the original game. Although we built it not only vertically and horizontally, but also in depth to create a real 3D background, and make it as beautiful as we could. In the beginning, the game wasn't beautiful at all, of course, but then later on, when we started merging the new building blocks and props that the graphics team had built, then it started looking really good.
Since BCR is built on the same engine as Next Gen BC, we can also reuse the editor made by Martin Wern. This lowers the time before we can start producing levels. It's very easy to use the editor because all you have to do is choose a building block or a tile and then just paint with it. This way we create a level very easily. The most powerful tool is that it's built in-game, which means that we, with a push of a button, can test the level we're producing.
My role changed throughout the project, and later on I moved on to doing more of a sort of, actually taking the models, the drawings into modeling stage, and sitting with the artists doing the graphics, the 3D models, and made sure to take a look at the drawings and what kind of details we need to focus on, and what details were too detailed, too complex to be readable in a small platform game. I try to keep the design of the characters as simple as possible, but also trying to add elements which you can clearly see separates the different body parts, like the lower leg from the upper leg and such.
Most of the time we get an opportunity to talk a little bit about each character, what they're supposed to do in the game.
So if you don't like the direction he's taking, you can argue with him for a while.
Yeah, and discuss how it works in the game, how the character's going to work in the game.
The biggest challenge for me was to make things work, because they're so small on the screen. I think Wendy felt that too.
Yeah,
they're so small, and Jakob has all these nice details in the characters. Most of the stuff you do and want to have in the characters, like clothing lines and seams, and all of that, we early in the project we realized this is not going to work, so we have to think bigger and less detail,
more color, I think.
Yeah, more color, more bigger shapes.
Yeah, definitely. Which as an artist, you see all these details on the concepts and you want to add them so badly, but you don't see it in the game.
But that's an art in itself. Yeah. Bits and pieces on every character glows just to make the movement more fluid and
and also in the different environments too, because we're dealing with different lighting environments as well, and these low detail.
It's crazy environment. Jakob and Stellan makes color go to the limit. Actually,
definitely with the lighting, and so we have to keep it simple, even more simple, I think, on the textures.
Hey. The neutral zones in the original game weren't that interesting, so I started thinking that maybe we could add some kind of an obstacle course in every, each one of these zones, so that you can go there and practice your bionic arm skills. And that idea kind of evolved into something that became a big part of what BCR is.
Challenge rooms are rooms filled with obstacles where you need to take the player from point A to point B as fast as possible. The bionic arm is such an unconventional mechanic that we really wanted to explore everything that it could offer. What we had in mind when we started building these rooms were old NES games like Solomon's Key, Wrecking Crew, Ice Climber. That's just very basic, very short stages on contained areas. And that's what we wanted to build on.
Old NES games, almost all of them have great music. Capcom has a history of having, pretty awesome music in all their games. I have the honorable task of writing the music for BCR, and of course, I want to keep all the music from the original in there. So all that I did is kind of remix the original tracks. I didn't use, the sounds maybe from the original, not in all the songs, but I sampled a little bit from the NES tracks too, but pretty much produced new tracks with the same melodies and harmonies, but with a more modern sound. That would sound a little bit more like modern breakbeat or big beat or house or whatever. I love the music from these old games, like the Capcom games. And then when I was a little kid, back in grade school, I would record the music from my video games onto my cassette player so that I can listen to the music even when I wasn't playing the game.